Hi everybody, it's Miss Julia today. I'm in my happy place, out in the garden, nice day. So I thought it'd be fun to do kind of a creative picture. It's called an intuitive painting. We add color and then you have to be creative with it. So have fun, I'll explain in the video and enjoy and use whatever colors you want. I'm doing this one in watercolor, but you can obviously change what you're gonna use and maybe try some pastels as well. So yeah, have fun with it. Okay, for this video, we're going to do what's called an intuitive painting. So you're going to need three colors. You're going to need your three primary colors, yellow first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet the paper with the yellow on my brush just randomly. I'm just going to no set pattern of any kind, and I'm leaving white gaps. So I'm just kind of flipping my brush around like this. You can work horizontal, vertical. It's called an intuitive painting. So if you're in my drawing classes, it's a little bit like a scribble sketch where you just kind of randomly have this scribble on your page. And you see how I've left dry white spots. That will keep the color from floating into those areas. Now I'm going to float red. I'm just using a rose. And I'm just going to float the red into, and I can tip my board and let it bleed a little bit. Just kind of encourage it to go down. I'm going to let see how it's flowing only where you've put color. So I'm just going to randomly let that color flow. Okay, now I'm going to go in with blue. I'm going to use ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to float that blue in there, just let it bleed. When it mixes with that rose, it kind of turns slightly violet. Now, in a few spots, I'm going to go back in and hit it with a little bit more of the yellow. Let's go a little stronger with the yellow. A few spots, just create blooms. Don't let them overmix. You want to kind of let them stand on their own, but you do want a bit of bleed. Now I'm not setting any pattern to this. I can keep my strokes kind of swirly. I can keep them horizontal. Let's create little geometric patterns in there. And I'm just vignetting it. I'm not going to the edges of the paper. I'm going to even take a bit of my rose and I'm just going to splatter it. This is kind of fun because it's just, you know, you're not really thinking of anything. You know, have a clean head when you're doing this and just kind of really don't try to force it into any particular pattern. Okay, I'm going to let this dry. I'm not going to do anything with it until I let it dry. I am going to turn it in several different directions when it is dry to see what I see in it. So I'm going to absorb up any little puddles that might be forming with my brush. Don't Kleenex them off. Just kind of absorb that up and we'll let that dry. Okay, our painting has dried. So now I'm going to take a look at it in several different ways and use my imagination to see what I can see in the shapes on this piece. So I'm not going to draw it on the piece. What I did was I did several different ones on a page protector that I cut so I could see through it. So here I see a bird up in here. So I added a bird and some weeds off to the side, and I've added some little water lilies, and I've got kind of line them up here to where I was. So you can kind of see where I've added lines. Now you can go directly on your picture with pencil and then go back in with pen and ink it in. And it's sometimes you don't even need to add any more paint to it because it's interesting on its own. But if you want to add paint, you can. So I'm just going to slip a piece of white paper underneath this so you can see the image that I've added to my painting. So I've added a bird, some
weeds and some water lilies and some lines of ripple in the water and a few stems. So I'm going to pull this away. You can see what this looks like. Okay, so the next one, pull this away. I'm going to flip it now, and I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go horizontally. So I'm going to take a good look at this and see what I see in this painting. So I see a scenery. I see buildings here. I see hints of boats, maybe a mountain in the background, some more boats. So I'm going to show you another version of this picture. I'm just going to stick this on here. So I would ink it directly on my picture. This is just to show you what I see in the picture. And you just use your imagination. So you can kind of see where I've added water lines. It looks like reflection. There's some sailboats, there's a rock in the distance and some buildings. So I'm going to slip a piece of paper underneath so you can see what the image looks like. So see the scene? And you just use your colors that you put on the painting as your backdrop. And it makes a very interesting pen and ink watercolor. So now I'm going to take this away and we're going to rotate the picture again. And you may see something totally different in mine. Now yours might, you know, obviously you can use other colors too. You don't even have to, I just used a two-way tape here. So I'm going to flip it all the way around now. I'm going to take a look at this. So when I first looked at this, the first thing I saw was this curve. That could be an octopus. See how it almost looks like it has eyes? You could make an octopus out of it. It could be under the water with all kinds of weeds. The other thing is I'm going to take that curve and turn it into something. So the first thing I thought of was an umbrella. So I put an umbrella with a little kid and some puddles. And I just used the water droplets where I saw rings in my water. I'm just going to try and find my original. There we go. So I used the curve here for my water droplets. I left a little bit of my curve up here and I stayed with the original curve in the picture. And I'm going to put a little bit of paper in here so you can see what I've added to this image. Okay, so you can see where I've added water droplets, an umbrella, and a little kid with some boots into that piece. So what I want you to do is try this intuitive painting, see what you can come up with, draw it in pencil first till you like it, and then go ahead and ink it in and you can erase out any phantom lines. All right, have some fun, be creative.